Yeah, we need to be careful not to touch things because it makes them break away, doesn't it?
Are we recording? Now, what do I have here in front of me?
I don't know, but it looks like, something blue Chanel.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you and the TTs out there. Yeah. I was in London recently, staying with a friend, which I know is hypocritical because
you don't
the
like
offer
people
isn't reciprocated. And this person's a good 20 years older than me. And I found in his bathroom, largely because I was raking through it just to check.
I do know who you're talking about, but we're not revealing.
No. Chanel Bleu. And it's put me off. So I'm depleting my stocks because I thought, I can't wear the same fragrance as a 63-year-old.
Oh, gosh, that is very
Have you ever been in that situation?
No, because I don't see why you can't share a fragrance. Do you think that it ages you if somebody that's 63 is wearing the same fragrance as you?
No, I just don't want to smell like that person because I've really no respect for them.
But see, the problem is, the difficulty there is that fragrances smell different on different people, don't they?
Yeah, but it's not the point.
Okay. So what are you going to change from then? Blue Chanel to what?
Well, my friend Gillian, who used to work on the Tom Ford counter in Harvey Nichols, has moved to Christian Dior and she's put me on to Sauvage.
Oh, really?
Very nice.
Now, who is the celebrity that endorses that?
Johnny Depp.
Oh, is it one of his?
Yes.
Deeply
Depp, who obviously was involved in that thing with that woman. And
That nobody's heard about.
But
God, it was all over the shop. But now,
imagine, I can't believe that people were genuinely watching that for entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm like, the breakdown of a marriage is very sad at any given time. But that, and people, and women as well, really going for her.
Yeah. Women turn on women. I've always said that. The women are the worst. Was it Madeleine Albright said there's a special place in hell for women that don't support each other? And women are the worst for kind of looking people up and down and kind of what you wear and what's your hair like. Those shoes are shit. So we need to get our
familiar.
Shit together. We do.
That sounds familiar. People reading, people looking them up and down. Would you say you're a supportive woman?
100%. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Particularly women in comedy, actually, because it makes my life a lot easier the more good women there are. I mean, I'd far rather go on after a woman that's been hysterically funny than after a woman that's been shit.
Well, yes.
Well, that's the case with anybody, really. Do you ever get that in comedy? People are like, oh, well, they've taken the laughter out of the room or there's too many people. You know, if they're too good, you get jealous. I go, no, the better the gig, the better the gig.
Well, the funny thing is, and again, not naming names, I have a friend. I know that's surprised me as well. And I remember said friend would go, oh, so you know who it is.
Everybody knows who it is if you do her voice.
I was up in Leeds and the compere, local boy, postcoded it. And I was like, right, okay. Nisi, there's a man with a thing.
Gosh, that's
which is very
exciting.
Much Nisi's bag, men with things.
For the listeners, there was a man with his hand through the door holding something.
Yes, this isn't a glory hole. So, but then an ex-friend of celebrity Alan Carr used to talk about postcoding gigs. And yeah, it's almost as though it's really interesting. So there was a time at the Stand in Edinburgh and there was this guy and I can't remember the guy's name. He was lovely, but he was with a girlfriend and she obviously thought he was the shiz. And I'm here to tell you, he really wasn't. And he'd started comedy and then he'd had a break and then he'd come back in. He was on. Now, I'm not saying I'm the funniest person in the world. I mean, certain promoters that shall remain nameless will not answer emails when my name is mentioned. Hello. And which I just think
I didn't
rude.
even actually catch that, but I still know. Yeah.
And she basically said, oh my God, you've had awful gigs. Well, why don't you do what she does and just go through Heat magazine and just shout about celebrities? And I went, well, maybe if she did that, bitch, then she would have got a laugh. I said, and I haven't read Heat because Heat's all photos. There's very little to actually read. Yeah. And it's amazing the amount of times I remember actually walking in, what was his name? Irish. The girlfriend was Flea. And he basically had said, Eddie, it was something. And he'd said something, I'd walked in and he was speaking about me. He went, yeah, do you know what tonight's missing? A really good MC, because I would have done better if there was a better MC. And I was like, okay, fine. And he just looked at me and I just looked at him. But the thing is, I'm so tired of people not taking responsibility for their bad gig, because that isn't my fault. Also, as well, you do get people that are like, oh, I don't like being on with it. I remember there was a guy who I think had a dalliance with Scott Capurro and apparently smacked Scott's hands off his head during an act because he had a comb over and it was all brought up in the middle and it sprayed and all this kind of thing. And I remember he'd said to me, he said, oh, I don't like being on with other gay people. And I went, how rude that you would automatically assume that I'm a homo. But yeah, you get that all the time. People don't want to take responsibility because I love it when people go, the crowd wasn't properly warmed up. Bitch, they were. Yeah. Unless I'm mentally ill. I left them laughing. And you have to take responsibility for that.
No, and I think it's nature. Being a performer, people will always look to find an excuse for why the gig hasn't gone well, and the last person they want to blame is themselves. However, it is the place you should first start, because normally 9 times out of 10, it's your own fault.
Well, I remember being on with someone who shall remain nameless, that just went, oh, it's just hellish in here. I prefer the other venue. And I said, yeah, you would prefer that because their MCs are substandard. Hashtag fact. And it's just, you get people, this is an unplayable room. How? If Sonny Lumiere, if there's light and there's a microphone, how is it unplayable? Yeah. And I just couldn't be bothered going to gigs with a catalogue of excuses in my back pocket. Go and, do whatever. And the thing is as well, you're not going to appeal to everyone.
No, and some gigs are. I mean, again, going back to the sort of Glastonbury thing, it was that kind of, the tent's full or the tent's empty, or people are coming in, people are going out. Do you know what I mean? It's a thankless task as an MC sometimes to keep the energy in the room and to keep, to break it down from the act that's been on before, that's maybe been really high energy, to recalibrate and do it again. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, people are arseholes.
But going back to my original point, have you shared a fragrance with someone? Is there someone else that you know that you have shared a fragrance?
Because I'm so dull in my fragrance choice and I'm so addicted to Gucci Rush, I don't know anybody else that does have Gucci Rush. Your mum does, but I've not smelt your mum.
I still think that is one of the funniest things you can say to someone, smell your mum. Really, I do. Honestly. And I know, do you know something? I know it's immature, but I just...
Smell your mum.
Yeah, and I always say that for any tourists in, that's Latin for go away. It is funny though. But do you know what? I was speaking to my mum actually, who smells fine, by the way, Trésor Lancôme.
I don't like people that wear the same things as me.
I don't think anyone does. You're pretty much safe. And the dead people you've stolen this stuff from, they're not here to challenge you. You put me off.
Sorry.
Yeah, this was another thing. So a friend of mine has just had a baby and have decided, so the name is what the name is, but they'll be known as...
something else.
Yeah. So I said to my mum, I said, that's a bit like me going, I've just had a baby. It's called Jobbies, but I'm going to call it Jobs. I don't understand why you would give someone a name.
And then call it something different.
Yeah, because the thing is, she has another baby. Oh, it's okay to say a she. Well, no, it might not be a she. No, excuse me. When you said boundaries. When you said guy ropes earlier, I thought, misandry. But then... her eldest daughter is, because I call the eldest daughter by her surname. What? That's your name. No, it's not. Yes, it is. And then to teach her the phrase, dirty dogs smell their own dirt first. I've never seen a child laugh so much.
Well, that is nice.
Because she was flatulent. She was a little pumper pants.
That you take exception to the guy ropes, but it was the guy ropes that kept tripping me up. I swear to God, one of the best observations of the drama of my car, when the locksmith, who just happened to be of female, was trying to get into my car and was reprogramming the keys and doing all these magical things with rods and sticks. The amount of men that stopped to give her advice, a professional locksmith who knows her job, and it was fascinating. They were like, oh, right, well, are you doing that right? It's like, you just wouldn't do that if it was a bloke.
No.
It was very, very interesting.
But she must be very used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same when people allow you the opportunity to park in a car park. I refuse point blank. And I would get out of the car and just leave it. Well, I have done that on occasions. But again, it's going back to that, see people motioning you. And I'm doing my fingers like in car washes. I remember very briefly, me and my niece had to go for a test for a retrospective virus. We'll move on, thank you.
All right,
and I remember being at the airport to get this thing, and the guy kept going, and I just wouldn't move the car. And he went, why won't you move the car? I said, because if they don't move or if they come back rear end, you've got too much power. And I'm not playing along, lovey. And my niece was so embarrassed. But no, I stood my ground.
Right.
But I think that's appalling. Why would you do that? And you're right, you wouldn't do it if it was a man.
No, and people are I suppose you can just tell people's personalities by the way that they approach somebody who is clearly doing their job that they're trained for to come along and feel that they are able to just walk up and give unsolicited advice. It gives a real insight into that person. You go, avoid, avoid, avoid. And it's like I see people now with masks on outside and I just go, that's mental illness. It is though.
Wow.
Isn't it? Honestly, Glastonbury was just filled with people and then one person with a mask on. That's not right. It's not right.
Do you think you'll ever move on?
I doubt it. Well, yes, I'll move on in my motorhome. Where?
China. Because they're still wearing masks.
Yeah, not for a stupid virus, though. For the virus or for pollution? Oh, I don't know. Do you know what? I'm past caring.
Thank God. Hallelujah. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have made a breakthrough. Her hymen is broken. She is now an ambivalent Agnes.
Absolutely.
Oh, talking of, do you know who appeared on This Morning the other day? Aggie from Kim and Aggie. Hadn't seen her for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, Kim and Aggie. Kim was the one that was...
Not the blonde lady who was a laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Aggie Mackenzie, she's friends with Karen Mackenzie. No, sisters.
Yeah, a bit more than friends.
Yes.
Bloodline,
sisters.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So what's Aggie been doing with herself?
I don't know, I turned off.
Oh, right. Okay.
I thought...
Not for you.
I just thought, honey, the past is there for a reason.
The house is clean.
Yeah, the house is clean. The stew is gone. The bleach has been drunk. No, I do like that Kim.
Oh, I think she's a hoot.
I think she is mental.
She takes no prisoners and she was on Celebrity.
Takes it like a sweetie.
No, she was quite forthright and...
Oh, she was brilliant. And she used to do these videos. Hello, lovies. Hello. And she used to basically put a whole thing of Gordon's into a goblet and just a tiny bit of tonic because she was dieting.
My son bought a 2-litre or 8-litre thing of water, emptied out and filled it with vodka and apple juice.
Oh, not gin?
No.
Okay.
Vodka and apple juice. A nice tipple.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yes. We'll have that later over a nice something.
Godspeed.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.